Good evening, everyone. Today, I want to have a chat about just some brief history about Invicta. So, I'm really excited to have just a small chat with you guys. So, I see nobody is just now in the chat, but I hope this video will be a little bit interesting also just to see it afterwards. Um, I will just mention a quick date, some dates that were very important uh, in the history of Invicta. So Invicta started in 37 with Raphael Picard. So when it's about Raphael Picard, he started Invicta, but there is not a lot information about this guy. So who is he? Um, so also about those years in the beginning, there's not a lot of information you can find in those starting years. So he doesn't have a factory, he just worked in a workplace, but nobody knows. Even I'm not really sure where he made his first watches. And also I'm not familiar with those watches. So I've never seen a watch made by Raphael Picard from the beginning, around 1937 or maybe uh, so until late 1800s. I've never seen one watch of that time. But uh, in their advertisements, also later, you can find some information about this time. As example, from 1895, Invicta was present there. No, let me be clear. Raphael Picard was at the exhibition National in Bordeaux, and he won a gold medal with some watch he made for this exhibition. In the past, Invicta had won a lot of different medals with making fine watchmaking, and this one in Bordeaux is an example of that, of fine watchmaking, and that was in 1895. So when we went about the brand Invicta, it was not registered in 1837. In 1837, Raphael Picard started with producing wristwatches, but the Invicta as brand is registered in 1896. It's also the same year, in 1896, there was a big exhibition in Paris, and also there Raphael Picard produced also a watch and won a golden medal with that. So before I will go further, I have to open the door. Okay. So Invicta is registered in 1896 as brand, and the first logo was really different. It was like an anchor or something like that. You can find it sometimes on old pocket watches. Oh, this one isn't open. I'm not sure if I can open it right now. Let me see if I have here something to open it. Now, let me show it. So this is a very old pocket watch. So this one is made. This one is produced early 1900s for the British military pilots. Inside this casing, you can find an old logo that Invicta used when they for their watches. And that anchor, that old logo, that anchor, is the first logo Invicta used, and so they used that around 1996 until 1910, and this one is from 1900. Between 1900 and 1910, this pocket watch is produced for the British pilots. But as I mentioned, Invicta didn't had that factory in La Chaux-de-Fonds until 1906. So in 1906, let me see if I have a picture of it. No, I think I don't have a picture of it. Let me see. So we're talking about the old Invicta. So in 1906, Invicta opened their older factory. They used that factory until the 80s to produce their watches. Let me see if I have a picture of it. I think this one, but I'm not sure. Or is this one? I think it's this one. Yes. So here we have a picture of the old factory. Invicta this factory in La Chaux-de-Fonds was finished around 1906. So before there, I'm not sure where or how they produce their watches. I'm just not sure. But in just from 1906 up to 1980, they produced their watches in that factory. So when it's about old newspapers, you can find there are also numbers about how much people worked for Invicta in that time. It wasn't just a small watchmaker. It was just in the beginning years of Invicta, and there were around 30 people working in that factory at that time. So it was very, very small, and there were not a lot of people that were working just for Invicta. Yeah, but in that time you can find also some very nice, amazing pocket watches from early 1900s. Invicta produced also some just golden pocket watches inlaid with diamonds, but also with fine movements, as example repeater with day, date and chronograph function and moon phase. So very high-end movements. Yeah. I think when we go further, around 1914, Invicta won again a golden medal, and this time in Bern. That's somewhere also in Switzerland. With a pocket watch, how you can guess it, with the pocket watch, it was fully inlaid with diamonds. Just all around of it, only diamonds. So it was a pocket watch, just fully with diamonds. I'm not sure what kind of movement it is. I could not find it. I have a picture of it from a newspaper of the watch, but it's not a really good picture because it's 1914. And I think this is also very interesting. In 1920, Invicta just started to grow because they bought Sealand Watch, and I think Sealand Watch was a really, really good investment of them, because Sealand Watch was started by a guy who is called Sealand, and he was just a manager of IWC. So everybody know IWC. It's a big watch brand, and Sealand watch was very. It has its market in America, in North America. So because Invicta bought Sealand, they bought also their resources, and also they started to producing watches for the American markets in that time. So I have an example. So, and that was Invicta bought Sealand watches around 1920. So as example, this delicate, very small, yes, it will be sharp. So this is also a chronograph. You can see Invicta on the dial, but when you open the case back, you will see it's a Sealand watch because of the movement inside. So this one is produced in the 30s. You can see it's a very, very nice watch. But with Invicta, when they bought Sealand watch, I think it's Sealand Watch Co. They started producing. You can find in that time. You can see that Invicta started producing a lot of watches with generic movements made by Adolf Schildt, made by Lenderon. You can find a Valjoux. You can find a lot of different watches produced with that kind of movements inside. So not their own movements, but in the years before that, so before 1920, Invicta had their own. Most of you find Invictas with generic movements, but also with in-house movements. As example, that repeater. I don't have one because most time they are golden and very expensive. Most time around $4,000 or $5,000. So that's very expensive for a watch. But as example, also I brought this one. So this one will be around the 20s. A trend watch. It will not go sharp. Come on. You can do it. No, he cannot. Oh, he will. So this one is. So this is one of an. This is a very early Invicta, with a movement that is produced by Invicta. So I think 1920 is a year you can mark that Invicta started with mass producing watches with generic movements made by Adolf Schildt, Lenderon, Valjoux, Etta, and so on. So and of course they bought Sealand Watch Co. And they producing sometimes watches with still the Sealand with the movement with Sealand engraved on the movement. Sometimes they have watches with Sealand on the dial, but Invicta on the movement engraved, and sometimes just an Sealand with dial Sealand and movement Sealand, and so yeah. So they used just they made use of Sealand. And I think when we go just to 1932, I think a big something that is very interesting is Invicta started with advertising a Chrono Sports a Chrono Sports watch, at least so it's the model Chrono Sports. I think you can find one right now on Chrono 24. So that Chrono Sport is an in-house chronograph. It is not a pocket watch, so it is a wristwatch, and tank style wristwatch. And they started producing them in 1932. So this movement is an in-house movement made by Invicta, but designed by Guyot. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. Misschien Guyot or Guyot. But this guy, I think it's a really interesting movement. I'm not sure if I can show a picture of it. I think I don't have any pictures of it right now. No. Okay, maybe for a later time. What I can say about that movement is Invicta won also a golden medal with it, and if I'm right, in New York. And they started producing those watches, the Chrono Sport, but also the second control. So for some for the New York police, what I read. So I think that's something that is interesting. That was around 1932. If I'm right, the New York exhibition where Invicta won the golden medal was around 1939. So now we will make a big step. So in the 60s, 1968, Invicta bought Waltham. And I think every American just has to know who is Waltham, or at least the company Waltham. Waltham watches is a famous American brand. They were, I think they are especially famous because their older watches are made in America. So that is very interesting, especially if you so maybe some people who are watching my videos and living in America, if you're looking for an USA made watch, you should have a look on the vintage market of for a Waltham. Okay. I think I can show this one. So this is, and you can see it's an Invicta with a rally dial or a surfboard dial, but originally this wasn't Waltham, but they transformed it into an Invicta. So on the dial, on the movement, there's Invicta engraved, but this design, you can find Walthams with it. And this one is from the 60s and late 60s, early 70s. Yeah. Also interesting, it was Waltham was not only bought by Invicta but also by two other companies. If I'm right, one of them was Sendos and the other one was what was Silvana or Avia, but they had all their share in Waltham Watch Co. And in the 1968, in the same year, there were some Swiss brands that started a watch group, and that watch group, so she had got a temp, SGT. They started that watch group because it was in that time really hard to be a watchmaker, to be a watch brand, because because of the quads, because people in the past, people wanted to have a watch with mechanical movements, and such on. But around 19 in the 1960s, you had the upmarch of with the quartz movements. So people wanted cheaper quartz movements. In that time, in the early times, in the early years of the quartz with quartz movements, they were expensive. So if you're looking to an old Seiko, maybe one of the earlier models, most time it was 18 karat golden cases with a very high end quartz movement, and most time those are very very expensive, or more expensive than those cheaper you can buy at some cheap store. But a lot of watchmakers just had some difficulties with that, and also also some Swiss brands. So in 1968, some Swiss brands started SGT, so Societe Garde Temp, and in 1970, Invicta joined also that watch group, but they just in that time they just keep producing watches under their own name in that factory that I showed you. So nothing changed in that time. Nothing changed, and they just keep producing watches. And I think something that is very interesting of this watch group is that in 1972 they were the first with an LCD quartz. Only that watch wasn't just not a lot of people just wanted to buy that watch, so it was a failure. And I think Invicta and also the other watch brands in that watch group tried some other things with quartz movements and some cheaper quartz watches, and they tried also to mass produce more watches just for a lowest price possible, but nothing worked. And in 18 between 8, so this was really difficult. In 1979 they were almost bankrupt in 1979, but they restarted. But they sold a lot of things, and some of the brands inside the watch group they sold off. Invicta was, if I'm right, Invicta was just still they still produced watches in that time. But between 1 year late, between 1980 and 83, they were bankrupt. That was really the end of this watch group, and also of Invicta. So now we have a gap, because in 1991, so it's between 1980 and 1983 that the watch group SGT was bankrupt, and also Invicta that was in that watch group. But in 1991, a yellow Lalo reintroduced Invicta, and I think almost everyone knows the story from on that time. Do you have a moment? So I think every Invictaholic knows the story just from Eyal introducing Invicta in America. His first watches were just basic divers. If I'm right, he started with the Ocean Ghost, so that was one of the first watches he introduced in that time, in the early 1990s. So if we go just after the millennium, after 2000, you can find watches like this. So I'm wearing today this Sapphire Ghost. You can find as example watches like this in early 2000. So if I'm right, they started producing this one around 2005. But you can find also something like this. This is an executive. Also a very nice watch that Invicta started producing around 2004. Hey Travis, how are you? Hey DC Worlds. I'm just doing I'm having a chat about the history of Invicta. So I'm almost at the end of my about everything I talked about the history. So I started in 1837, but I'm now around 2000 with showing off some of my watches that Invicta produced around. So this one is produced between 2004 and 2008. It's a very nice Swiss-made watch with an Unitas movement. I really like the dial. So this one is a little bit classic. But when Jalalo bought the Invicta brand, he started producing Invictas like the Ocean Ghost. So I'm still looking for one. Maybe somebody in the Invicta group has an Ocean Ghost for me to sell, but I'm still looking for it to review it, because I think it's if you consider that it is one of the first watches that was designed by Invicta when they bought the brand in 1991, I think it's very interesting to have it and maybe to review it. But okay, really, thank you, Travis. That's really nice of you. And I think also a highlight of this year's are just 2016. I think every Invicta lover knows that Invicta bought in 2016 Glycine. So I don't have a Glycine watch, but they are just, I think they are the more classic and more high end watches that Invicta just now produce. Yes, they produce it. Glycine still produce it in Switzerland, if I'm right, in Biel, and they have still their own factory, still under their own name, and they made their own advertisements and such on. But Invicta is the owner of Glycine watches, and they have now a new logo. So I don't have a picture of the old one, but this one is the new logo. I think a nice fact is that Invicta and Glycine got some problems with that logo. I think everybody knows Armani. So Armani said, "Oh, this new logo looks very similar to ours." So they started a case against this logo, but they lost it, if I'm right, in 2019. Average watch reviews on YouTube and Watch Corner 700 on Instagram. Okay, thank you, Travis. I think I will have a look. I'm really sure I will have a look there and contact the Average watch reviews and Watch Corner. So that's a really it's a really funny fact, especially because Armani lost the case. So so far, I don't know if they were going higher courts. And 2017 is the first Invicta cruise. A little bit about the Invicta cruise. So before 2016, so I think 2016 was the last time that Invicta was on Basel World. Basel Worlds, for the people who doesn't know what is Basel Worlds, it's an watch exhibition with a lot of watch brands. It's a very old watch exhibition, so it has a long history. But the last years were not really good, especially last year. Rolex quit it, and Patek Philippe, and also some other brands. They just don't be there anymore, and they will do their own thing. And oh, oh, I see, I see. Oh, Travis. Oh, are you just trap fishing? I thought you were. Do you want to have a chat right now? We can have a chat. I think I put down below in the description my Skype. We can have a chat if you like. I hope you have chat. You have Skype on your phone or something. So if you just want to have fun, like 5 minutes, just chatting about watches, we have time right now. Down below, you can find a link on my Skype. You can just with your computer or with your phone. Okay, but there's a link down below in the description, and you can just we can go Skype, and I can link it in this software. So about Basel Worlds, it's now not anymore big because a lot of big brands like Patek Philippe, Rolex, those are the two biggest brands that left it. But if I'm right, also some other brands like Louis Vuitton Group left it, but I'm not really sure. And some other brands. And now and now we have the Corona, so there's no Basel Worlds. But I think they are now in big trouble. Okay. If you have Skype, you can just add me with that link, and we can try to have a chat. Hey, I still have to have to be fast with my headset phone. Can you hear me? Okay, great. If you have a moment. Okay, great. Hmm. Thank you. Yes, I can hear you, but now on the speakers only. So I'm trying to add this headset. So it's now on my phone, right? It's connected.
Click on that link and it wouldn't let me come on, so I just went the back door way, I
Oh,
guess.
you're already on my. You're now live, so.
Yeah.
So
Am I?
people can see your face.
They can see me?
They can see you.
Oh, okay. Okay. What's going on, brother?
So we have now a chat with Travis. He's also called Trapvision 3D. I think every Invicta collector knows you. So I don't have to introduce you. I think, right? Everybody knows Trapvision 3D. I think I don't know.
Just a few people. I said just a few people.
No, yeah, just a few people. But um, I know. I think what you are one of the most popular Invicta YouTubers. Just I think on par with Tommy Big Time. I think.
Yeah,
But
that's my guy, man. Tommy, I actually he was over on John's channel a minute ago talking or chatting rather.
when with who? With John?
John
Oh,
the
John the phone
phone.
guy here. Yeah. But when was that? This week?
Huh?
Oh, I didn't see that live stream. I have to look. I was on the live stream just an hour ago on John the Phone Guy, but that was with the I don't know his name, but with the guy with sneakers, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, so Tommy was in the chat. He wasn't on the film. He was just talking to us in the comment section.
Hmm. But uh,
Yep.
but last week I had a chat with him live, and I'm if I'm right, Tommy will also have a chat with John the Phone Guy next week, right?
Oh, you are?
No, John the Phone Guy will have a chat with Tommy Big Time next week.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, that should be nice.
Yeah, Tommy is really a really kind guy. He's really he told me that he was not really into the live and he don't know if he wants to go live. But he did it one time with me, and now he will go with John the phone guy, and maybe the week after he will go with you. And after that,
Well,
and the
you
week after that, he will go just every week and every day. Live itself. He will just do it itself.
I don't know. You know what? I think that's the way to go now, man. Everybody's doing live, man, and I mean, I'm having fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to do like two lives a week,
Okay.
and doing it where doing one on Tuesdays, one on like I'll actually be going live here in about an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yep.
So
So
you put it in your agenda to when you're going live. You're
what's
planning
that?
it. You're planning when you're going live, or just going random.
Yeah, yeah. So we, you know how my shows were before, man. I'll just go live or I'll just drop a show like randomly.
Yeah.
Now I'm scheduling it out, man. Like, I'm going by my work schedule. That way
Yeah.
I respect the time of my family and stuff like that. And just, I mean, it's order. It's a lot more order around here now. So I'm liking the schedules. I mean, I'm doing Tuesday. I may drop a video on Thursday and then Sunday.
Yeah.
So I got two lives and one regular video. So that's working out for me now. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's I think that's most easy for also because you're just also working, and I think life is bus. I think life is just already hard enough if you don't just if you're just doing. I think you will do too much if you're just going random there and random there. And also, what I think is you're also doing on a lot of different platforms, just separate, right? So one time you go to
yes,
on Instagram live one time a week, or maybe sometimes two times a week or more, because
yeah. So my Instagram, what like on my Instagram, what I'm eventually going to do is probably 3 times a week on Instagram, and that is we'll be talking like watches and stuff like that, man. But with the Invicta cruise and stuff, we don't know if the Invicta cruise will happen. But I know one of the things that people really don't talk about is like their health,
yeah,
because when you get on that cruise, it's a lot of walking. And I know it was some people that wasn't in good shape, and they were like exhausted, because when I tell you, you really don't sit down that often. It's like you're going to different events, you're meeting people, you're hugging and seeing like,
yeah,
and you got a few celebrities that's on the cruise, so like you're always doing something. And I know a few people that were like just from walking. I mean, you can walk 26 miles on this ship, easy. It's easy to walk 26 miles. So um yeah, I mean, I'm big into like just getting in shape, man, and
yeah,
not necessarily looking like like somebody diesel muscles popping out, but just being in good health.
Uh,
So that's what I'm going, plan on doing with the
ah,
Instagram is we'll talk watches, but like really talking health and stuff like that, and,
yes.
mental health.
Most time you're also just doing workouts there, like jogging
Yeah,
and like some other stuff. But most time you're doing
yeah.
things like that. Problem with I also want to lose some weight. So every time when I see you doing all those workouts, I'm just really scratching behind my head and I'm thinking I have to go to the gym or something like that. Really, but the one problem with myself is that I'm really a guy that likes competition. I did
Okay.
a lot of I did in the past a lot of sports. I did football. There's not American football, but soccer. You know, yeah.
Soccer.
And I did basketball and table tennis and swimming, but not just recreative, but um, you know, really
You compete.
competitive. Yes.
Yep.
So,
Compete.
so
Yep. I
and
follow.
just not separate. So I did that at one time, just all. So I had one day this and one day that and one day that and one day that, and also I did also like competition on all of them. So I was just sporting like 6 days a week or 7 days a week. But in that time I was like really skinny, you know. I think you're falling away. Are you there? I think Trap Vision has some issues with his stream. Um, hmm, that's a pity. Okay, are you there? No. Okay, let's go. Let's go bigger. Okay. Um, maybe we can try again. No. Okay. I think he lost his connection, but so I think when it's about the history of Invicta, I think there are a lot of very interesting, yeah, a lot of highlights, and also some bad things that happened in the Invicta history. Um, yeah. Um, I think this is it for today. So, Travis, I want to thank you because I cannot say it with Skype. I want to thank you just for the just for the chat, just to have a chat with you on Skype, and everybody else who is watching this video or maybe watching it afterwards. I want to thank you for watching today, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.